You're listening to episode 20 of the Wheeler's Dog Podcast. Hey, thanks for listening. My name is Eugene Sims, and you're listening to an extension of my award-winning blog, WheelersDog.com. People just don't read blogs anymore, but hey, one of the things that I missed on the last podcast, because actually it was recorded, and then I found out later that afternoon, thanks to Leanne Patty who let me know, we lost the last surviving cast member of Green Acres. Now, if you go back, or if you even remember episode 1, I talk about the name Wheeler's Dog, where I got it from. It's an obscure reference from the series Green Acres. Mr. Wheeler has a dog, and it's not so friendly when Mr. Douglas yells at it. So, you know, if you remember that, that's on there. But Tom Lester was the last surviving cast member of the Green Acres series, and that's pretty wild to be 82 years old. You know, that's how old the guy was. I missed the chance to meet him one time in Greensboro. He was at a local church doing his ministry thing, and I could not get off of work for it. I just had too short notice, but my parents went. They got me an autograph from Mr. Lester, so that was pretty cool. That's the only autograph I've gotten from any of those cast members. I did get an autograph from Tom Poston once. I don't know if you remember him, but he was on, I can't remember his name now, but the Peeper. Yeah, he was the Peeper on the Bob Newhart show, and then later on he was Handyman George Utley on Newhart. So I did get that autograph. Didn't get to meet him, but Tom Poston was really cool. And the thing about Green Acres is it's my all-time favorite TV show. It's never going to be replaced. There's been some other shows that are up there, but I guess because it's the series that twisted my sense of humor, that has me doing other things. Like whenever somebody walks in and they go, "Hey, your hair looks good." They're not directing at somebody. I just automatically say thank you. That's a Green Acres thing, you know, whenever you do that. Whenever somebody comes in and directs a compliment or to someone without saying a name, hey, that's an Eb Dawson, Tom Lester kind of thing. And that's who Tom Lester was on Green Acres, the hired hand, the mild irritant of Mr. Douglas. Some great episodes, like when Eb goes to correspondence school to learn how to become a barber. It's an interesting episode, and they had a football team at a correspondence school. Everybody got tickets, and all the players would mail in what they were supposed to do, and that's how they played those games. That was kind of funny, but there is a tradition that I started, when I got into drinking age. I'm going to go ahead and say it goes back to 1994. When Pat Bertram died, the guy that played Mr. Haney. Bourbon and beer and Green Acres. Because what I would do, I would tape Green Acres on anything from CBN, which is the Christian Broadcasting Channel. 700 Club, basically, funded that station together. And they used to play like old classic comedies. That's how I got into the Ann Southern show. Yeah, I know you never heard of it, but there was some pretty decent comedy there. I got into Dobie Gillis. Many loves Dobie Gillis that way. Let's see, Father Knows Best. That was another one. What's the one with the Donna Reed show? Yeah, I get into all these old shows that I didn't see growing up, and some really good ones. You know, there's some good comedy out there, good wholesome comedy, and they used to play Green Acres a lot. And when we were able to afford a VCR, I started recording every episode I could. You know what I mean? Then Nick at Night had Green Acres for a while. I was recording the crap out of that. Then TV Land came along, and I was recording the crap out of that, all on VHS tape. So I could get all the episodes and watch them anytime I wanted. Because when I was a kid, I would make time to make sure I'm at a TV for Green Acres. No kidding. I remember one time it used to come on WGGT, Channel 48 in this area. It used to come on at 1 o'clock. And I would, no matter what I'm doing, even if I was working part-time with my dad painting, he made sure to have me home at 1 o'clock to have, he and I both would sit there and watch Green Acres together, just laugh and laugh. And lots of times, we'd get teary-eyed just laughing, watching Green Acres. Because the humor is sometimes it's just, surreal. It's all very surreal. And the other thing is about Green Acres is I always like how the same joke will apply for many different characters that had nothing to do with any other scenes where the jokes took place. So, it's like everybody kind of knew what the joke was, and it was always on Mr. Douglas. So it was always a very surreal show, and I really dug that kind of humor. And again, 1994 is when I started doing the whole thing because I had the video cassettes built up. So Pat Bertram died. Yeah, I got a 12-pack of beer, had some bourbon at the house, and I was watching that until the late hours, just getting hammered and, finding the best Haney episodes. Then the following year, Ava Gabor died. She played Lisa Douglas. And I did the same thing. And that was on July 4th. I can remember that. What I used to do when I was working at Capitol Records, because this was the time I was there, I would take holidays, like, for instance, build 5-day work days out, especially like a 3-day holiday. I'd always get the Friday off or the Thursday and the Monday or the Tuesday. That way I could have a 5-day weekend. Kind of stretch it out without using too many vacation days. That way, I'd have 5 days off from work just in various months of the year. So it was kind of like an extended vacation or an extended 3-day weekend. And I remember July 4th, I want to say it was on a Tuesday, but I had already taken the Monday off to go along with the Tuesday and the Wednesday. So I had a 5-day weekend built around that. And I remember just getting rip-roaring drunk when Ava Gabor died. Just really too much bourbon because I only got like a 6-pack of beer for that one. And then in 97, Alvy Moore died. That's the guy that played Mr. Kimball. And by the way, another Cousin Dan thing, he loved Green Acres as much as I did. His favorite character was Mr. Kimball. So he asked me one time to put together a video cassette of just scenes with Mr. Kimball. So I got up like 9 o'clock in the morning, on a summer morning. I had nothing to do. And I worked on putting this video cassette, a 2-hour video cassette, but I worked 6 hours on doing it. It was a labor of love, and from what I understand, my cousin enjoyed it for many years. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Then in 2000, I didn't really celebrate this one because, Fran Ryan died in 2000. She was the second Doris Ziffel. Barbara Pepper, who was the original Doris Ziffel, she died during the filming of the series. She was a beauty queen. If you look at old pictures of her, man, she was nothing like she was later in life. I mean, she had a hard alcoholic life, if you know what I mean, and that's what eventually led to her death. But Fran Ryan, I did watch some of the later episodes with her, but there weren't a whole lot of episodes that featured her, prominent as the previous Doris. Then K.E. Cutter, Kuter. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he played Newt Kiley. He died in 2003. That was a bummer for me too. So I ended up doing the tribute thing with Newt Kiley. One of my favorite things with him is like he calls up Sophia Loren because they're trying to get her for an appearance at Green Acres, or I should say at Hooterville, and he's like, "Hey there, Sophie, honey." It's like he's talking to her on the phone like he knows her, and apparently he does. That's the funny part about it. 2005, Eddie Albert, Oliver Wendell Douglas, he bought the farm, literally. Well, maybe that's figuratively. Oh well, too late for a Mr. Kimball impression. And then there was quite a dry spell. Sid Melton died in 2011. That was Alf Monroe, one of the Monroe brothers. So I watched quite a few episodes of them. And by the time we got into 2000s, I had already had them on DVD. So, yeah, I got the first 3 seasons, and MGM decided, hey, these aren't selling well enough. We're going to stop making them. So then I never heard where they picked back up, but apparently they put out 4, 5, and 6 on DVD. The Shout Factory bought them, and I got to get those. And then in 2012, Frank Cady died, the guy that played Mr. Drucker's store. And the funny thing about him is he was one of these guys, you know, he went bald early, and so he used that to his strength. He always played like characters that were older than him. If you watch some of the episodes of Green Acres, you can tell they've got his hair tinged up with gray to make him appear that he's older than he is. And, you know, it was very deceptive. So he died 2012. And then the other Monroe brother, Ralph Monroe, played by Mary Grace Canfield, she died in 2014. That was a tough one too. And I was like, oh man, the only one that's left is Tom Lester. Eb's going to be around a little bit longer, and he was, and Tom Lester just died this past week, the April 20th of 2020. So, yeah, it was kind of a downer. My wife, she allowed me to go through with my tradition. It's the last time to do it, you know. Beer, bourbon, and Green Acres. And we started at the beginning, so you can kind of see how Eb wormed his way into Mr. Douglas's life as the hired hand. And then we watched some other ones where Eb was dating Betty Jo from Petticoat Junction. And then, we just kind of went into bed early. It was a weeknight, and I do have to make sure that Chigs is up in the morning because she will sell her soul to the devil for 5 more minutes of snooze. Yeah. So she has it's not that she's not capable, but I just take it upon myself to make sure that she's up and at 'em because, again, she will roll over, and then the next thing you know, she's 20 minutes late for something. So, anyway, we didn't get too far into it, but the good thing is Amazon Prime has a bunch of Green Acres available. They've got every season, but there are some shows that you have to purchase. I don't know why it's like that. And then there's a couple of shows that's not even there. It's like listed, but you can't play it. So that's kind of wild. And anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So Green Acres, I highly recommend. Again, I still think that if they took that series, the original series, just took the sound from it, and then just animated a show around that sound, I think it would really, really hit it off with the kids today. You know, they like animation. And I think that'd be a nice way to kind of keep the show going on with future generations. Because, it's really a great comedy. Like, we watched one of the episodes with Eb. He went to Drucker's store for his birthday and said he wanted this $14 radio. And Mr. Douglas was supposed to guide Mr. Douglas to buy it. So he buys it, and he's listening to a radio contest. And, of course, every song is the same. It was kind of like a statement on rock and roll there in the 60s, where all the songs sounded the same, but they really didn't. But it was on the episode, and they had different titles, like, Pizza Mama as one of the song titles. And a buddy of mine on Facebook told me that he used that song for his ringtone one time. So he made a ringtone out of that. And it's just some music that they made for this series. But, there's a lot of great episodes out there featuring Ebb, many of them. And stick around after the podcast, in case you haven't noticed, there's like a little tagline. So we were watching one of the Betty Joe ones, and there's a Ebb line that I will sometimes do. Like if it's, I will apologize, and then they'll say like, no, it's my fault. And then I will use that Ebb line, and it's at the end of the episode. Okay.
Three guys sitting around talking about being a dad while drinking a beer. The Beer Dads podcast is available everywhere you find podcasts and at tldpodnetwork.com. We talk about daddy issues, but in a good way.
And one of my other all-time favorite TV series, the Beverly Hillbillies. And there is one cast member left living from that series. Yeah, Max Baer Jr., the guy that played Jethro. I think he's 81, and he's still alive. I think I'm going to carry the beer and bourbon tradition over when Max Baer finally decides to kick the bucket. But, he did appear with the Green Acres cast. I think there's a couple of episodes where they all go to Hooterville and the Shady Rest Hotel. There's an episode where the Hooterville players, Playhouse, whatever, they do an episode of the Beverly Hillbillies. And Arnold's always mentioning the Beverly Hillbillies. He's got to be at home in time to see the Beverly Hillbillies or Gomer Pyle. And that was the thing with Green Acres. They would always drop other CBS shows in there as some of their jokes. And I always appreciated that. But Beverly Hillbillies, even though I love the show and I would make time for it, much like I did for Green Acres, I would block off spots of it. Like, it used to come on Channel 8. I'm not Channel 8. Channel 2, WFMY TV here in Greensboro. It used to come on at like 8 o'clock in the morning, weekdays, right after the Good Morning Show. And I would set my alarm clock. I might be up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, but I would set my alarm clock in the summers, wake up, watch that show, turn the TV off, roll over, go back to sleep. So I was dedicated to that, but never to the point where I wanted to record the shows. There were several things on the Beverly Hillbillies that it just kind of irked me. Like, for instance, Ellie Mae. Sure, Donna Douglas is pretty, but she didn't really do it for me. She just didn't. And the thing that I found so annoying was Ellie Mae had her own little music, like little cutesy music. So it was Ellie Mae. And she's always doing things with animals, like a chicken swimming, a cat swimming. And I just didn't care for it. And it always had that goofy music, that feel good. Oh, to kind of make you feel that Ellie Mae is so sweet and demure. I just didn't care for it. And that's one of the things that bugged me about that series. And then in the later seasons, like, for instance, here's the turning point. I know the Simpsons have an episode about Poochie. It's a Poochie. When you add a character like on Itchy and Scratchy to hip things up, it makes it worse. Cousin Oliver comes to mind on the Brady Bunch. Heck, look at the Cosby Show. Once Tempest Bledsoe got over her cute phase, boom, they put another cute kid in. And that's what they do. And with the Beverly Hillbillies, they added this guy from back home. But it wasn't really back home. It wasn't Bug Tussle. It was Silver Dollar City. Wherever that's at. They never mentioned it before. All of a sudden, they're going to Silver Dollar City. And Shorty Kellums He was the hotel owner. And he just annoyed the hell out of me. Just did not care for it. So that to me is when they kind of jumped the shark, so to speak. Once Shorty Kellums comes on, not any good. I mean, there's a couple episodes in there, Mark Templeton as the frog man, and Granny is convinced that he's half frog underneath because she thinks his wetsuit is him. Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you just have to see it. But that's the thing. I never got into the Beverly Hillbillies. I do own a couple of DVDs because I got them as gifts, like a Christmas gift here and there. Somebody'd pick it up, but it doesn't have the original music to it. It was all the episodes that were public domain. Because that's what killed me. The Beverly Hillbillies had episodes that went into public domain. I mean, why was somebody not thinking? Why would you let these episodes fall into the hands of any and everybody? I don't know. I just never could understand that as, somebody that has created before. Especially something of such magnitude as the Beverly Hillbillies, a show that's probably airing right this second somewhere in the world. Still a great series. But, I don't think I ever mentioned my favorite Green Acres character. I'm not sure. I think it would have to be Mr. Haney. And that's the thing. I always wanted to name, if I were to ever have kids, I always wanted to name them after characters of Green Acres. Like, Kylie, that was the name, from Newt Kylie, that was a girl's name. Drucker, I thought would be a cool name for a boy, but, imagine the rhymes that go along with that. So Dawson was one, obviously. I had that one down. I did have a cat. And we named her, I wanted to call her Ralph, after Ralph Monroe. But, everybody was saying, oh man, she's just too cute to be called Ralph. And she was a cute cat. So we named her Monroe, after Ralph Monroe. So that's where she was named. And then when my wife decided to get CJ, our big girl, our dog now, our second dog, when she decided to get her, I was like, okay. When we first got her, they named her Calamity Jane. I don't know why. I didn't get it. I didn't much care for it. I didn't think it fit her. So we just started calling her CJ because we wanted to keep that name, Calamity Jane, but we just shortened it to CJ. And it works. So I asked Jamie, I said, hey, would it be all right with you that I kind of keep the tradition and add a Green Acres reference to her name? So she's really known as CJ Pixley. So if you want to see her on Instagram, she has her own Instagram page, CJ Pixley, Pixley. Pixley is the town that neighbors Hooterville. It's actually the county seat of whatever county they're in and whatever state they're in. But lots of great episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies. And I quote some of those too. But yeah, Green Acres, definitely my top. And then there's been other shows like comedy-wise. Seinfeld. Yeah, I love Seinfeld. Malcolm in the Middle. I don't think Malcolm in the Middle gets a whole lot of love anymore. And it's a damn shame. Series ran for 7 years and it just never let up on the laughs. If you've never seen it, by all means, check it out. Malcolm in the Middle is quite hysterical. I know that some women have told me, well, it's just too violent. It's too boy violent. And I'm like, what? So apparently some women have a problem with since there's 3 boys and then the 4th one arrives, it's just, it's too boy violent. Apparently boys are violent. I didn't grow up with any brothers, but I did, I was around for Sam and Matthew growing up, and they were constantly torturing each other. So I kind of got an idea what that was all about. Anyway, folks, I don't have any AC/DC research ready to go. I think the next album up is For Those About to Rock, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not looking forward to listening to that one because that is one of my least favorite AC/DC albums. Yeah, I mean, after Back in Black, I guess maybe they got a little constipated, and then they just, they put out that turd of an album. Yeah, that's the way I see it. So, yeah, it's not a great album for me. But next week, I'll have it going on. And also check WheelersDog.com because I am posting all my findings. And Bill Rudd is making increases on Tony Corrente. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. But anyway, I'll have those results with you. And I'm going to fine-tune it because I've gotten some feedback from some of you that just don't care about this research. Yeah, you're taking my wife's side in all of this. Like, you don't care for it. You think it's stupid. Well, we'll see about that once the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame gets a hold of my complete findings when I have them published. Yeah, who's going to be laughing then? Anyway, folks, stay safe out there. I know everybody's talking about reopening everything. Personally, I just don't think it's time yet. And if you're one of these essential people out there doing essential work, thank you. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I know we all do. And just take care of yourselves. And I'm thinking about getting back on the Patreon wagon sometime in May. So, I kind of gotta get a new software for this. I don't like this Audacity. It's driving me crazy. So I'm just looking for some way to pay for it. And that's one way to do it. And anyway, I appreciate everybody that's still on it. I still got 2 more people on it. So I'm thinking about actually making a podcast just for those 2 people that are still on Patreon. And then when you come back on Patreon, you can access it then. So anyway, folks, I'm getting out of here, and I just want you to take care of yourselves and be patient with people. Everybody's got a lot on their minds these days. Some people don't know where their next meal is coming from. Some people don't know how they're going to keep the lights on. Just be patient with people, and we'll all get through this, okay? Take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Betty Joe.
Sorry.
No, it was my fault.
Oh, it was mine.
Then watch it.